The way we're doing the session this year, this is my third year presenting for those who don't know. My name is Rashi. I have turned from a social media marketing person to an events management company. I still do brand consulting here and there for a few people. This is my third year presenting at PodCamp, and this is actually my first Saturday, so this is very, very interesting for me. Usually we have a full 40-minute session with a bit of Q&A, but this time it'll be more so about a 20-minute session, and then I want you guys to ask the questions and you guys to tell me what you guys want to hear. This is more about you. If for any reason this is not the session you guys want to be at, just quietly head out so nobody else gets disturbed. I would really, really appreciate that. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy what I have to say. Okay. So I put up some of my favorite quotes when it comes to branding, just because I find the word brand is so overused in today's generation and in what we do today. So if you guys want to take a couple of minutes to kind of figure out what is said up there, that would be great if you guys can see. If not, I can say it out loud. So all these 3 points, what we're all really saying is that branding is a sense of belonging. The reason we want to brand ourselves or we want to brand a product or a service is because we want to belong. We want to find people, experience emotions that we get very comfortable with, that we feel that this is home for me, this is my friend for me, this is something that I can relate to. So that's essentially what branding is. If you Google the history or actually do a bit of research on the history of branding, it kind of started out not so much as a product or a service, but more so in terms of a tribe, even a religion, some sort of community, and some sort of personal sense. And over years, obviously, it's gotten very commercial, and now a product or a service is considered a brand. And that's where it becomes a bit more complex. Whether that is for a product or service, or even for yourself, it's really what we want to do is connect with somebody and connect with that feeling. So in this case, right, branding is an experience, advertising is the temptation, and that is something I have used as I've been doing, whether it's events, whether it's marketing for people, for clients, is because if you really look at these 2 ads right here, are you telling me that if I wear that perfume or if I gift that perfume to someone, I'm going to find this really handsome man and be that amazing like a photo shoot? I don't think so. Nor will I come out from a pool in like flowers. That's not going to happen. But that's what we want. That's why you have Gucci giving us this very upscale vibe of their product or service, and those who relate to that, those who like that, those who want that, they kind of want to experience that sort of lifestyle or that sort of sensation when they're doing something. And which is why we always say, your brand, what is branding, why we do what we do, why we drink a certain cup of coffee, why we use a Mac versus a PC, it's all the experience that we want. Same thing, always like to pretty much. I'm just going to leave this up for a couple of seconds because these are amazing marketing people, business consultants that have an impact in the brand and marketing world, and I highly, highly recommend that you guys do some research on them, do read them, do follow them if you want to kind of figure out your own personal brand as well, and what your presence does here online, which we will get into in a few minutes. So, just before I get into this, I don't feel any of the products that I put up here, I have nothing to do with it. It's just the history that I've really enjoyed and I like, and it really do make a big difference in what we're doing today. So, if you look at Hope, for example, this was their first logo when they started, and this is where they kind of ended up. So you've seen, and this didn't last for more than like a year, thankfully so, but the whole idea here is that they wanted to create an experience and somehow that has happened, but they've also kept it very consistent, and at the same time they have evolved. So it's what, if you look at it really carefully, you still have those lines here, you still have the writing, but this is now a bit more appealing to what we're doing today. So what we call a logo is a symbol, and that is something that we do tend to relate to, and what we try to find. Whether it's consciously or subconsciously, something about that logo or something about that symbol, whether it's the color, speaks to us first, and then we go for the product. That's really what ends up happening. Same thing with Starbucks. Why do people spend so much money on a Starbucks coffee versus a Tim Hortons coffee versus McDonald's versus any other small coffee place? If you really look at how it, and what it started was just really a cup of coffee. The guy went to Italy, saw what he liked there, and brought that experience here. And today they are global, everywhere. Again, what he saw was an experience, and he wanted us to relate to that. Same thing with Apple. That's how it started. And today, we can't live with our iPhones, our Macs, or whatever the case is. And the balance between an Android or an Apple. And again, the whole thing is that we want to be cleaner, we want to somehow relate to it. Right? Which brings us to, what do we mean by an online presence? And more specifically, what do we mean by an online presence today? Because a few years ago, an online presence really was having your website up there, having a Facebook page up there, and boom, you're online. People could Google you and they see your profile, they see the fact that you had a website, and you felt very happy about yourself. Today, that's really not the case. Having an online presence is managing how you are viewed online. Not only through your social media, but through any professional website that's out there, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's your own domain, and of course, social media for sure. So we go online to generate business, right? That's why you want your website out there, that's why you want your name out there, you want your job, if you want a job now, people go on their LinkedIn, they have to send their resumes, and you have to create that presence online. But how do you do that? And if you're a brand, or you consider yourself a brand, yet you have your stuff out there, is it the same thing? And if you do not consider yourself a brand, but you have your information out there, again, is that the same thing as having an online presence? To some extent, yes, but not entirely, because it's how, and this is where it gets tricky. It comes down to how you view yourself and what you want. If you are a business person, well, I should say that as an entrepreneur, if that is who you are, you want to attract people to you, to sell a product or a service, you would take a very different approach online. But if you want to be a person of influence, you want to art field, you want to write a book, you want people to come and hear your podcast, you will be telling the story of who you are online in a very, very different manner, just so that you still attract those people. So again, branding is what we do to connect with somebody else, whether it's for a business or a personal reason. And most importantly, like what I just said right now, why does this online presence matter is because we want to stay relevant. We, as human beings, no matter what we do, we have the desire to feel important. We have a desire that we want people to recognize us. In the past, when it was within your social circle, there was always that one popular kid that everybody knew, that one cool person. Just take that same theory and now put it out there on social media and on the internet. That's essentially what we're doing. There's a reason that we care about how many followers we have, how many friend requests we get, how many clicks we get on our website. We want to be that cool person that we were a few years ago when we were in high school. Right? That's what we want, and what we tell ourselves now is that I am a brand, I am somebody important. These are all my followers, these are all the likes that I get. That's what we want to do. And if we are in that sphere and we want to do that, then there's a way to tell that story where you matter. Whether you matter to 10 people or you matter to 10,000 people, that's upon you, but you want to matter at the end of the day. So, well, like going back to the same theory is that this is why we self-brand ourselves. And I was up late last night when I wrote that sentence, and that does not make sense. But see, this is part of me branding myself. I do come off as someone that is very straight to the point. So I will point out my own mistakes, and I will laugh at myself. But that's also what gives me my business, and that's what gives me my clientele, is that people feel that they can come and talk to me. And I've actually spoken to so many people who've attended the past sessions, and I'm in contact with almost all of them. As humans though, this is where the branding part gets a little tricky. We're not a business as such. We want to view ourselves, but we still have that emotional connection to what we're doing. Whether we are a blogger, whether we are a model, or an Instagram model if you want to call it, whatever we are, we feel that we need to be presented in a certain way. But the battle comes down to what should I post out there? What is the content that I should put out there that I am still myself, but I'm also viewed in a way where people who want, something, like they can come to me. So why would you necessarily, as a business, go after an influencer that has maybe 10K followers or 10,000 followers, that's the same thing, like 100,000 followers versus a person who has maybe 2,000 followers? As a business, why would you do that? You're doing that because you feel this person who has 10K followers will give you more recognition, they will talk about you more than the person who has maybe 2,000 followers. But what research is showing, and what what businesses want to do now is work with people who are influencers, quote unquote, but they have 2,000, 3,000, only 4,000 followers to start having that level of engagement. Why? Because we come down to the whole aspect of we want to emotionally connect with someone, we want to talk to the other person, we want them to talk to us, and we want to build that sense of feeling without it being commercial. So we're going back to what branding was years ago before it became extremely overrated, and we want to start over. Because we kind of don't have a choice in doing that. Our attention spans as human beings are very gotten less and less and less. We cannot, do the same, like we cannot read a book. I mean, some people cannot read a book. I know I can, but they want the story to end faster. You want to know what's happening at the end versus dealing with the moment, understanding what's going on. Which is why businesses do not want to work now anymore with the higher influencers because they're not getting their rate of returns on that. So if you want to put yourself out there, it comes down to how can I relate to the type of target market that I want? How authentic can I be and truly mean it so I get that market? And that's really what it comes down to. So it comes down to what do you want people to know? And once you put yourself out on the internet, whether it's your LinkedIn, whether it's your website, whether it's your social media, it's really, really out there. That's what it is. So before we go on to questions, so we can actually figure out what your brand is, the reason why I and a lot of people do agree that your online resume is, your online presence is your resume is because what you put out there is what clients, businesses, LinkedIn users are all going to see. That's what they want. They want to know who you are before they hire you. They want to know who you are before they become your friend. They want to know who you are before they give you your money and they want to work with you. That's essentially what it comes down to. And how you figure yourself out online is really going to be up to you, like really what you want. Do you want to be be seen in a certain way where you have this amazing lifestyle and all that stuff, or do you want to be seen as someone real where people can approach you? Once you figure that out, that is how you start placing your content, your captions, everything online to start attracting those people. And that will go down to a certain kind of social media marketing, which PodCamp does have my resources on their website, so I'm not going to get into that now, but you guys can, go online and find that. But yeah, that's what really it comes down to. We do live in a generation where it's important. We have to have an online presence, whether we want to or not. But it's also how you start viewing yourself. If you like, one of my favorite quotes from Seth Gordon is that, "Are you a brand?" He said, "No, I'm a person." That's what it really comes down to. So if you, as a person who wants to kind of be seen as a brand, you need to figure out what do you want to do online and how do you want to do it. And that will conclude all the main tips and points. Like I said when we started the session, it's more of an interactive session this time, so I would love if you guys have any questions, any suggestions, any tips, any stories, what you guys want, or something to go back on, and we can discuss that. That's what this session will be here for today. Yes?
There's the cliche, the internet never forgets.
Yeah.
So people don't have careers, we have series of careers now.
Mm-hmm.
So what you were doing now 10, 15 years ago online is a little out of your control on different websites. So now you're doing something else. People search.
But they'll see everything.
All the past, and you're not selling that, you're not involved in that, you're not in that city or whatever. Can you help us understand what you do? How do you advise someone today in that situation?
Well, what we put 10, 15 years ago, you're right, we cannot erase that. And it's somewhere out there on the internet. What we can do going forward is being a bit self-aware of what we are putting out there. So how you start branding yourself is what you want to do is showing how you have evolved as a person, as where your career is going. So as an example, 4 years ago, I used to promote myself as a fashion blogger and as a social media marketing person. So when people went on my social, on my socials, on my website at that time, they thought I was a social media marketing expert. Now, people still think that, but they see I do more events. I do more brand consulting. So all the material that I put out there, I still keep what I did in the past, but I started owning it. So when I start owning it, I'm showing them that I have evolved in it, which is how you spin the negative into the positive. That's what really comes down to. Yes.
How would you compare marketing a brand like the U brand versus doing something like Rogers or Telus or Bell or a big company, IBM, whatever? How would you sort of distinguish between those kind of brand exercises?
Those kind of brands, when they start branding themselves, they know that they are a corporate organization. They are targeting mass people. They're not involving emotions when they want to attract a person to that extent. Their commercials, their colors, their fonts, their logos, they want to attract not just you, but they want to attract everybody in this room. So the science behind that would be very different versus me saying out of this room, maybe 10 or 15 people may like what I have to say, and they may want to come and talk to me. So the way I'm going to present myself is a bit more on a personal level. Telus, Rogers, they're not going to do that. They won't be that personal. Bell will not be that personal because for them, if you look at their fonts, if you look at the colors they choose, Bell is blue and white. Blue is a calming color. It's going to attract everybody. Rogers is red. It's going to evoke that emotions of being fiery, being out there. So that's how they start playing with the people that they want to bring on board. Then when they talk about their services, that's a whole different conversation. But just in terms of how they make you catch your eye is a lot also to do with their color theory, which is a very, very different psychology behind logos and patterns and symbols. Yeah. I hope that. Yes.
Actually, I wanted to touch on the question prior to the one that's asked. I'm someone, I've been using the internet since I was like 9, 10 years old.
Okay.
And so a lot of what I've done is still accessible. And on occasion, I even point people out to that. So what I found is that I've made plenty of mistakes. There's lots of things I'm embarrassed about, but I decided I'd rather go for the authenticity than trying to upload a very specific image based off not all of the factors that are true anyways. As a matter of fact, there are certain personalities who I don't want to call out publicly, but what they found was they were less trustworthy because we couldn't find out where they came from, what their origins were. So it actually made their motives more questionable than less questionable.
And also keep in mind, we went through a phase during social media where we wanted everything to be perfect. We looked at accounts of people that had these perfect lives. It's only last year more so that people now want to people like, I'm real, I'm aesthetic, and I want to learn my mistakes, and I want to know all about learning. So that's been a process, especially for people that are doing that.
So yeah, just a comment to, full circle on this kind of whole chain here. From a technical perspective, I think that's what you're more looking towards. Yes, we do have a lot of information from previously. If you're going through a rebrand, which might be the question that you were probably looking more towards, there is things like SEO, search engine optimization, to bring up your newer stuff. You can still delete a lot of your older content as much as you can. And the more that you push, your newer things, and put more time into that, whether it's through Instagram, etc., that kind of gets more pushed to the top. And there's research done that people don't really spend time through the second, third, fourth page of Google, so you don't have to worry about that. So to very simply answer your question, more from a search engine optimization thing, you would probably push that up, and that's how I would do that. Because like him, I was on the internet since I was like a little kid too as well, right? And I've gone through like web designing, I've done music videos, I've done this. Now I'm doing podcasts, so I've kind of forgotten that, and I'm promoting more than newer things, and that's what's sticking now, right?
Well, if I may respond, so I guess it's lucky for me that I haven't diverted too much in terms of my interests. It's always been either arts or media focused. And I think, you know what, honestly, a lot of it actually just comes from being paranoid about it, where if I went through the effort to clear all of this out, and then somehow someone is either able to dig it up because they got it out for me or whatever, then I have to admit that. So maybe it just comes from a place of, I'm gonna jump on my own grenade before somebody calls that. Yeah, but you can still, a cleanup act I think is still helpful, just to make sure that if there's any attention directed towards me, it goes towards that. But that's because our technology is getting better, so we have a better means to direct people to the new stuff rather than the old stuff.
Correct.
Sorry, next.
What we just said, you can't really clean it up. There's a website out there, it's called Wayback Machines or something. It remembers everything that's out there, so you can feel good about yourself that you clean it up. But the Wayback Machine records a copy of your site, whether good or bad. We all did stupid things on the internet. Some of us have drunken pictures of parties at PodCamp. 100%. Please don't have to look at mine. But the Wayback Machine is to remember something. Not the nice, not the best pictures of me that were at the party.
I was doing building stuff as I want to talk about.
Yeah, whatever.
So what happens in Vegas doesn't necessarily stay in Vegas.
No,
It ends up on YouTube.
Yeah,
It's Google. Google overload.
Sorry, guys.
My question I get a little basic for people who already done before, but it's just more so around if you are building up a brand like from scratch, if you had to give advice as to like these are the 5 things that you should find, like what would you say?
5 things
Or like whatever you like choose.
No, okay. First, I would say, know your product, service, or yourself. Like, tell your story. Tell it whichever way you want to tell it, but keep that in mind. Own up to your mistakes if you make them online. It's totally fine to do that. People will actually follow and respect you more than you know that people who are issuing these launches. business. Be consistent. If you plan to post every other day something, then make sure you post every other day. It sounds silly, but what that resonates with someone is that you are committed. So when they come to you for their product or their service, they know that they will get that commitment from you. Yeah, I think those are the main things I would start focusing on. If your logo or design kind of changes, just make sure it's not a very drastic change, because that does confuse people. If you have, like, when I started my logo, and I'm so happy with it right now, I had like a closed necklace on my writing. Over the years, it's still the same font, but it's gotten a bit thinner, and I've taken that image off. And I still have the purple color on it, and that's what supposed to call that. It's good to evolve, just don't do something drastic, because then it causes confusion, especially when you're building in the first year.
Sorry to make you repeat yourself. Know who you are and your brand.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to make your mistakes.
Yes.
These were good, I like these.
Make sure you are consistent with your posting.
I'm consistent in style
Yeah.
too. With that kind of consistency as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, yes, the style kind of goes hand in hand with your branding. Style goes hand in hand with the story that you're trying to tell. But when you're consistent with anything that you're doing, whether it is, posting on LinkedIn, posting on Facebook, on Instagram, or wherever, what you're telling your future clients is that you are a committed person. If you are committed to building yourself, you'll also do that for others.
Yeah, it
Right?
drops off. I noticed when I look at podcasts and I'm interested in researching how other people are doing it, and I see that they haven't posted for 2 months or 3
You're like,
months.
what's going on?
Or I look it up and then it looks like the last post they did was in 2017. I probably won't go back there. We're looking again, right?
But if you see these podcasts are every week, they like when they say every Thursday, they are dropping something new, and you actually see that happening, then you want to learn from them, right? And that's how you're helping them grow, but that's how your own business can grow. Yeah. Okay, who was first? Okay, let's go over here.
So, okay, cool. So you started building your brand, right? You started to build this following, and then suddenly you started to get offers. How do you keep your brand consistent and like say labels that are like consistent with what your brand is?
So, I mean, if you want to work with other brands and or other labels that resonate with you, then go for it, as long as it doesn't ruin your brand. But at the same time, if someone comes up with an offer for like $3 million, but it's not aligned with your brand or doesn't make sense for your brand, I would say no to that, because I care about my, like the way I have built myself, I care about working with labels, brands, and people that make sense to me. It's not always about the money. If you're only thinking about the money, then you will not really be a successful personal influencer or a personal brand, because to do that, you kind of have to stick to yourself, unless you go out there saying, hey, all these products are sponsored, like good products or brands. Like I'm doing it because I'm getting paid, not because I care. Which now a lot of influencers have started doing, just because people do question that, right? And then that's how you kind of gain and lose those clients. So yeah. So I had a couple people in the front first. Yes.
Okay, so you're talking about building yourself as a brand. So we have a podcast, there's 4 of us. So we have our own brand.
Voice.
So do we need to create now our own individual brand?
That
in that respect?
depends what you like, how important this podcast is to you and what you want out of it. If this is something where you're like, you know what, I want my identity to be associated with this podcast and this podcast only, you will not build a separate brand. But if you want to be known as someone who says, I'm associated with this podcast, but I do all these things on my own, then you start building a brand.
Okay, so we should really be a part of the brand.
Yes, because that is where you started, and that's what you want to do. But if you're doing a bunch of things outside of the podcast, and you want people to know that, then you have to build yourself that way. So as an example, when I do events and when I do social media marketing, it's all under my event company building because that's how I started. But when I get hired as a stylist, so what a lot of people don't know about me, I also do a lot of styling work. But that, I really look under Rashi, Bindra, my own brand, my own self.
Okay, so you think, so then we have our own podcast brand,
Exactly.
and then maybe make another Instagram page as, because we are the co-hosts of this, rather than use our own Instagram.
If that's how you want to do it. If I, for example, do not want my event company to know the styling stuff I use, because that could conflict with other gigs that I get. As a stylist, I'm free to work with whoever I want because I promote myself as just Rashi Bindra,
Okay.
right? So same thing, if you want to be associated, and that is the key word here, associated with the podcast that you're doing, you will stick with that page and that branding. But if you want to look someone like, hey, I am a co-host of this and I do all these amazing cool things outside, then yes, build your own Instagram page and let people know about it.
Okay.
Yeah. And there was somebody else in the front too. Sorry, that was very normal. You can then go to you in the back.
I'm just wondering, say you wanted to position yourself between two extremes like accessible and luxury. How would you, what colors would you use if you want to be approachable, but you want to be tempting too? Like how would you personally, because you kind of seem like you're in that way. Yeah, value, luxury, like how would you position that if you're not fitting one's stuff?
So actually the colors that I use to brand myself is a lot of purple, gold, silver, because that speaks about being high-end and upscale. But it's not only the colors that I use, it's the type of design, it's the type of writing.
What type of design?
Like all my graphics, like we actually had that conversation with like afterwards, is very clean. So if you look at some of the if you look at some of the flyers that most fashion people or nightclubs post, like as an example, you know, it has like 10,000 things like on it and these little graphics, like crazy stuff. I don't know that. For me, the reason my stuff looks very high-end is because even that graphic is very clean, with just with a little bit of information, so that way when people want more information, they have to find it. And they have to reach out to you. But then for them it also looks like a high-end event, or like something a bit more luxurious.
Then how you make yourself approachable?
Because I make sure I respond to all those questions, and I make sure, even if I sometimes take a little bit longer than I used to in the past, I still make it a point that I sit down and reply every single time. And that's how they feel, from a point of if they are sending me a message to inquire. But when it comes to actually branding myself, then it becomes on the captions that I use. So that's where the wordplay becomes. It's a bit of the color, it's a bit of the font, it's a bit of your design, but how you word it. It's a little science behind that. But if you want, after the session, I can show you some examples of that. And those are the first things. Oh, sorry. Oh, you sure? Yeah.
Yes, sorry. I was just wondering if you think that there are any differences that you should approach your branding based on what platform you're using. I mean, ideally, everyone would like to be influential on every platform, but based on your audience, you might be better on Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook. But would you say you need to approach things differently for your branding on those different platforms?
I think you don't need all 5 or all 6 platforms, to be honest with you. Like, I don't use all of them. There was a time I only used Twitter for certain things because that was what made sense. I don't really push on Facebook, to be honest with you. That's not what I want to do. And then in terms of where I get most of my like clients and people and all that stuff is on Instagram. So not necessarily as a brand, you need to push on all 5 platforms. If you see 2 that are working, you work with those 2. There will always be tweaks because every demographic is different. So you can take the same flyer for both platforms, but now how you word it, how you caption it, is where the difference comes. That's pretty much it. I hope that answered your question, because that's a bit of a social media question.
I was wondering about the idea of being a little bit technical for people who are close, because, nowadays, when you post on social media, algorithms change all the time. And sometimes, some people who call themselves influencers, they come from this type of interaction down to this, in one night, and the algorithm changes. Some people were banned from YouTube for being racist, just because of being comedy, and it's like, we're dealing right now with machines. We're not dealing with people who can say like, oh, this is comedy, this is not racist. So don't you think that there has to be, because going on brand and dealing with these things are changing all the time, sometimes every week. Don't you think that also there has to be some technical awareness on the people who want to, specifically for entrepreneurs who doesn't have a team to do that for them?
Yeah, and you know what? That is right. You have to kind of know the platform and a little bit of the technical part that works with it. But the only reason I did not touch on that for this session is because the past 2 sessions that I've always done have been more social media like focused. So we have spoken about those followers, how the technical aspect works, how it changes, hashtag, all those things. Just this time we want to focus more because all the feedback I would get now that we understand Instagram or understand Facebook, I'll be runners. So just using that feedback was pretty much why this session happened. But you have to, I do agree with you have to know your technical aspect and what anything you want. Not only social media, but even the website and all that stuff. Yeah.
If you don't consider yourself to be a brand, let's say you want to get a job for a brand, say social media manager, right? And you, for instance, are not super social, on media and you're not super active. But what are the basic general knowledge? What is the basic general knowledge that you should have to prove to the brand that you are unique and you're worth their while and you want to work for them and you'll be doing a good job? Like, are there some tools or, in order to show them your portfolio kind of thing, right? Like, what should you say to convince the brand or the company to convince them to hire you?
It's not more so about what to tell, it's not more so about telling them in terms of convincing them. It's also about you being confident in yourself. So as an example, this was, 4 years ago? 5 years ago, almost, 5 years ago, I got hired to do social media marketing for an EDM festival in Montreal. And to be honest, I have no clue about EDM music. I do not understand that world. The beats all sound the same to me. I kid you not, when someone asked me about it, and that was when I wanted to build my brand as a social media marketing person. So what I did was, I researched it, and when I sent in my proposal to them in my meeting, I was confident enough to sell to them what I knew, or what I thought, or what they thought I knew about their world, to successfully launch a social media campaign for them, and I was doing that for about 2 years for them.
So basically, you're just building a strategy.
I'm building a strategy, but if you go to any brand to work as social media in any shape or form, not only do you have to understand their product, you have to have a strategy because you are telling them the story. You are showing them that this is the story that you did write for their brand. You can answer all their KPI questions, because they will have them. Even if you're not very active on social media, that's fine, but you have to convince them by you yourself being confident and understanding that world, why they should hire you. So it really comes down to the research.
All right, thank you.
I hope that helps. Yeah, right.
Branding myself is pretty new, but I'm curious, how is it possible to sit on trying this for too long, as you're trying to build up your idea of how I'm going to brand myself and this is what I'm going to present? Is a month too long, 2 months while you're doing other projects, or could you spend a year finding the right way to present yourself?
I spent 4 years and I still spend time trying to find myself, so that is...
Fair enough.
So branding yourself is not a timeline. It's not a 1 month project and full stop, that's it. Because as a person, you're always changing. Who you are now and this moment is not the same person that you were even 6 months ago, right? You have evolved, you've changed. So when you think of it that way and you put yourself out there as a brand in whatever field that you're doing or you want to do, it's okay to keep changing and keep evolving. When I say that you need to be consistent is in terms of like, it's kind of as if going from this hill to this hill, right? You will always still be like this. You may dip a little and you'll come up. So that consistency is always going to be there. Like you will always like certain things. That's not going to change about you, right?
Just start more or less. Like,
It's about starting, and it's about sometimes getting feedback, but it's also about not panicking because that, like out of 10 people, one person said something like negative, or they did not give you 10 extra likes or something, right?
Yeah.
It's just about just being consistent and putting yourself out there, but then also being true to yourself that, hey, this is how I want people to see me, and I'm going to stick with that. Yeah. And it's going to be a challenge for a while. Like it will be a bit of a trial and error as well. But that's with anything you do on the internet when you start out.
Thank you.
Hope that helps.
Okay, just trying to get a little bit of free advice if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I'm here today.
If I were to pick, I'm going to be starting a podcast that is related to my professional career, my professional industry, the shopping center leasing industry and retail.
For commercial real estate?
Yeah, commercial real estate, particularly retail and shopping centers. And I was going to be doing interviews with retailers, interviews with people who do leasing, up-and-coming concepts, great retailers, things like that. What two platforms, should I use for the type of people's age range would be very young people in the industry that I want to approach, that I want to appeal to the industry leaders and people who are the dawn of their existence. So, or at the tail end of their time in the industry. If I were to pick two, which should I use between, Twitter,
in terms of
LinkedIn?
Well,
Yeah.
LinkedIn, 100%, because a lot of commercial real estate organizations and companies, they actually are very active on LinkedIn. And the second platform will really depend on what's the age range of the people that you're interviewing. So it could be Facebook, it could be Twitter. And that is the part where I always have to do great research and have a good trial and error. Like you can have your page on all 5 platforms, but the one that you would work the most, let's say in this case, would be LinkedIn for sure, and then it could be like Twitter, because they have a tendency to respond, and then again, the content that you put on both would be
Is it because of the capabilities or because?
your
Like if I wanted to-
demographics are different.
Okay, but not, it has the capacity to take video, links, photos, all of that stuff. Or if I wanted to give contact info for somebody I spoke to, I can put that in there. And both of them can handle it. Okay.
It's just your demographics and the way they search is really different.
Okay, thank you.
So there are any other questions? Yes.
You're a person, you're not a brand. Corporate brands have logos.
Yes.
Any thoughts on personal logos?
Yes, actually, let's see if I can find my personal logo, which I may not be able to on this computer, on my own laptop. Yeah, you can have a personal, actually, wait, hold on, sorry, no, I do have a personal logo, and I'll show you the difference between that. Let me see. There you go, that is my personal logo.
And you always make an effort to use it, or you're consistent, does it make a difference?
I've had this logo for 3 years. 4 years. And I've only recently started using it because now it resonates with what I'm doing in terms of a stylist. So for my personal, non-event branding stuff, and if I feel I need to use this as, that's my name and this is who I am, I do it. But at the same time, if you've noticed, my personal logo is my name. It's fonted in a way where, for me, it makes sense. Like, for me, this A here is an arrow that points upwards, which means I'm going to always grow. That's the way I like looked at it when I got this name. Or the underline underneath my last name, which is made smaller, is because I don't want people to know me through my last name, which is because in my culture, like they know my dad and all that stuff. I want people to know me for me and for like what I'm doing. So my first name is actually bigger than my last name, but there's this like final point where it's like I am here to stay. These are all those factors for me is what brought me this logo. But you have to kind of understand what you want when you get it done. Right? So those are really bad.
Aside from the personal connections that you just explained, because honestly I wouldn't get those details, but just looking at the logo, what was the thought process in terms of your personal brand to come to this? Like what was if I look at the logo, how would I know who you are or what you
Well,
are?
that's the thing. So the reason why this logo is also, like you said, from an outside perspective, it's just a simple logo. It's just my name. Because for me, I'm not a brand, I'm a person. So for that, resonates to me as being a person. It's my name written very nicely. But as someone who has the knowledge in terms of font history and understanding how graphic designers work a little bit, that work with graphic designers to understand what I want when I get something created, I have specific points in there that, like you said, you may not realize. Maybe somebody who's in that field with a bit more experience than I realize.
So are you thinking of your audience when you think of that field, or like how are you targeting it? Are you looking for designers because they will get that, or who is your audience? Because you mentioned styling, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So my audience actually, when I did that logo, was for everyone, because this logo was created 3 or 4 years ago with the same thought process in mind, is that I want to grow. And at that point, I wasn't doing styling that much. I was doing events, but I wasn't doing styling. But I still felt like I needed something with my name. And then that's how I kept that same process and I evolved as what I'm doing right now. So when people who knew me back then and they know I kind of see the change, but at the same time they know that like having my name the way I've had it shows my consistency of like wanting to be firm and how I'm people to it is that at the end of the day, it's me first.
And I got it. Once they interact with you and they work with you, or they have an idea of what you're capable of for delivering or whatever the service or product, they would recognize you by the brand because they know, oh, this is her. I know where it's coming from. But to me, and nothing against your logo, I think that's personal. It's just like to get to a point where the brand is known, like my personal name or my product, my service, that would be a longer journey, I guess, right?
Yes, it can be a long journey, or it can be a faster journey. It depends on how much work you put out there faster, right? That part is not based on anything. Yeah, and what you're doing, your product or services, what you're offering to people. Like, why should someone come to you, right? Why should they interact with you? That's what we're going to be working on to get to that.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Is there any other questions? You guys want to talk some more?
Yeah, well, maybe I'm the only one in the room who doesn't know what styling is, but what is styling other than,
Sorry,
I don't think, when you say you're a stylist or styling, you do styling?
Yes.
What does that mean? Fashion. Okay. So do you create
I do not design clothes. I work with existing clothes and concepts that people want and make them up.
With the big
Actually, no. I do not do personal shopping. I know people who do personal shopping, but I don't do that. Is there anything else, guys? Okay, if not, thank you everybody so much for coming and giving me your Saturday. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope this was helpful. And you guys can always reach out to me if you want to chat some more or, get some more free advice like Ray did right now. That'd be great. So thanks so much.